be king.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
Banquo the bear, we called him. I mean, he's just a fiercely loyal guy, you know, and seemingly incorruptible, and you know, and that has a very huge moral conflict as he sees his friend unravel, and he's kind of less troubled seemingly by the prophecy than Macbeth is, but when he starts to see the change in his friend, you know, it's when he has to kind of question what his motives are in all of this. I was very interested in that idea of kind of prophecies and people being told something that they don't really want to hear, and how that can really consume people like it really consumes Macbeth. But Banquo has his loyalties really tested by it, even though he's kind of confused and afraid as well, because he can see as these kind of you know, do you call them prophecies? Would we call them that? You know, from the witches, as they start to kind of come kind of true almost. I think it's something that frightens Banquo, because he realizes he has to act upon it as well, you know, make his own decisions about it. I thought those things were very interesting.
If we should fail.
We'll not fail.
There was a fear of the delivery of the text, and even understanding it, which seems silly now, but when I sat down and started to work on it, it was a joy. From the first day I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is fantastic, you know. And once you start to figure out that, you know, the meaning of the text is very beautiful, and of course it's not frightening at all. It's quite a revelation to go, wow, I get it, I understand. That's great.
I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
I made a point of not trying to look at anybody else's interpretation of him, because I just feel that with some classic characters, there's a certain, people feel a little bit duty bound. You know, I don't know, people have played Macbeth and they've turned Shakespeare around, they've modernized it and done different things, but you know, I just didn't want any of that filtering in, because I would have been making a comparison, and I just looked at it as a character. After a while I started to forget the fact that this was even Shakespeare, and there was some kind of great debt or even any sort of weight upon any of us. You know, at the end of the day, you're given a script, you've got to play the character, and that's all I did. You know, it just started to dissolve well before we started filming.
Macbeth shall never vanquished be.
It is very traditional in how, you know, we've kept to the story, and Justin's kind of kept faithful in lots of ways, but, you know, there are some kind of things in there that's bringing it to a new audience in a way, you know, and showing them the battle scenes and things like that. But they were a challenge in themselves to shoot.
Full of scorpions is my mind.
If it wasn't for Justin, then I don't think I'd have ever done Shakespeare. I just think that it was his vision, and his vision for me as Banquo that was the reason I got cast.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts. Hail King that shall be.
You turn up and it was there. The sets were so incredible, and the costumes were so incredible, and the makeup, everything was so brilliant that it was just there, and you stepped into it. He does what all great directors do that I've worked with, that he just makes the playground safe for you to go into and do your thing. Justin's a very great filmmaker, and this material in his hands became a very, you know, an interesting thing, and it's a great cast. You know, not talking about, you know, there's Michael and Marion and Sean Harris. You know, there's a lot of really David Thewlis. There's a lot of really great actors in there, And I think with that, with kind of, you know, Marion and Michael alone, you know, maybe people will step out and have a look at it and see. But you know, he is a visionary, Justin, and it's going to be an interesting film. I think it's going to be you know, I think the movie fans hopefully are going to like it.
This is the very painting of your fear.
Full of scorpions is my mind.
What's done is done.
I am in blood. Stepped in so far.